My beloved child, pause for a moment. Breathe. What you are about to hear is not accidental, and it is not late. January 9th is not marking an ending for you the way you think. Archangel Michael draws your focus to something approaching rather than something ending, and this message carries a perspective your spirit has been quietly waiting for. Open your heart and notice what resonates today, because this is not about what is closing behind you. It is about what is moving toward you with steady, undeniable steps. You have been watching the calendar, counting days, assuming that something has slipped away. You told yourself, if it hasn't happened by now, maybe it never will. But hear this clearly, heaven does not measure time the way you do. What feels delayed to you has actually been aligning. Archangel Michael stands with his sword lowered, not raised, because this is not a season of battle ending. It is a season of arrival beginning. Right now, your mind keeps replaying what you think is over. A job, a relationship, a role you once played, a version of yourself you outgrew. And because you've been staring at the door that closed, you almost missed the sound of footsteps approaching from behind you. That is why this day matters. January 9th is not a full stop. It is a comma. My beloved child, there is a reason your spirit has felt restless but not hopeless. Restlessness means movement is near. Archangel Michael is drawing your attention away from loss and toward preparation. Something is positioning itself to enter your life, but it requires you to stop mourning what is no longer meant to stay. You were never meant to carry yesterday into tomorrow. You may have felt an urge to clean, to organize, to simplify, or to withdraw slightly from noise. That was not random. That was instruction. Heaven had been creating space. When something new approaches, it needs room to land. And the reason you've felt emotionally sensitive lately is because your discernment has been sharpening. You are sensing change before you see it. Listen carefully now, because this is important. What is approaching will not look the way you imagined. If it did, you would resist it. Archangel Michael knows this, which is why your expectations are being softened. You asked for clarity, but first your attachments had to loosen. You asked for growth, but first your comfort had to be challenged. None of this with punishment. It with positioning. My beloved child, stop saying, this is ending. Start saying, this is shifting. Endings feel heavy. Gives feel uncertain. But uncertainty is where faith becomes active. And faith is what pulls the unseen into the seen. There is also something else you must understand. Not everything that leaves is a loss, and not everything that approaches arrives loudly. Some blessings come quietly, disguised as subtle changes, a conversation that lingers in your mind, an unexpected opportunity, a decision you suddenly feel peace about. Do not overlook the small signals. Archangel Michael often moves ahead of the manifestation, clearing the path before you notice the road has changed. You have been protected from seeing the full picture too soon. If you had seen it earlier, fear would have talked you out of obedience. That is why clarity is arriving in layers. Today is one layer. Tomorrow will be another. Trust the sequence. My beloved child, I need you to release one thing right now, the belief that you are behind. You are not behind. You are right on time for what is approaching you. A delay was not denial. It was refinement. You were being strengthened quietly while you thought nothing was happening. Notice how certain old worries no longer grip you the way they once did. That is proof of growth. Notice how your tolerance for confusion has decreased. That is discernment awakening. These are signs that you are ready to receive something new without losing yourself in it. Archangel Michael is not asking you to rush. He is asking you to look up, to shift your focus forward instead of backward, to stop revisiting what ended and start preparing for what is about to begin. January 9th carries this invitation. Adjust your gaze, because once you do, you will realize something powerful. What is approaching you has already been approved. What is approaching you has already been protected. What is approaching you will not require you to beg, chase, or prove yourself. It will recognize you. Hold this in your spirit as you continue listening, because what comes next will bring clarity to why this shift had to happen exactly this way, and why this moment could not come a day sooner. My cherished soul, as this message continues to unfold, I need you to settle into it with patience, because what Archangel Michael is revealing now requires understanding, not urgency. January 9th carries a quiet authority. It does not shout change, it whispers redirection. And the reason many people miss moments like this is because they are waiting for drama, for collapse, for some visible ending to justify their emotions. But heaven rarely works that way. What is happening now is far more precise. You have been interpreting recent events as signs that something is slipping away. A plan stalled. Communication slowed. Motivation faded in certain areas. But Archangel Michael is drawing a clear distinction for you. Something did not fail. It completed its assignment. There is a difference. When something completes its purpose, it withdraws peacefully, even if the mind labels it as loss. That withdrawal creates alignment for what is next. Right now, your spirit is standing at a threshold. Not between good and bad, not between success and failure, but between familiarity and expansion. Familiarity feels safe because it is known, even when it limits you. Expansion feels uncomfortable because it asks you to trust what you cannot fully see yet. And this is where your perspective must shift. January 9th is inviting you to stop measuring your life by what feels secure and start measuring it by what feels aligned. Archangel Michael is emphasizing discernment in this season. You may notice that certain conversations drain you faster than before. Certain environments feel heavier than they used to. Certain goals no longer excite you, even though they once meant everything. This is not confusion. This is refinement. When something new approaches, your tolerance for what no longer fits decreases. That is how the soul makes room. There is also a subtle protection happening. You were kept from forcing outcomes that would have exhausted you. You were delayed from choices that looked promising but would have required constant struggle to maintain. Archangel Michael does not only protect you from danger, he protects you from misalignment. And misalignment is far more costly in the long run. Understand this clearly. What is approaching you does not require you to chase it. If you feel the urge to over-explain, over-approve, or overextend, pause. That is not the direction. What is aligned will meet you in peace, not pressure. This is why your spirit has been craving simplicity. Heaven is reducing noise so you can recognize the signal. My beloved soul, you may be tempted to rush clarity. You want answers now. You want confirmation now. But clarity unfolds best when you stop demanding it and start noticing it. Pay attention to repeated themes. Pay attention to what keeps returning to your heart gently, without fear attached. That is often where truth waits. January 9th is also asking you to forgive yourself for misreading past seasons. You did the best you could with the awareness you had then. Growth does not mean regret. It means understanding. Release the idea that you should have known better. You do what you were meant to know at the time. Now, you know more. And because you know more, something more can approach you. Archangel Michael is standing guard over this transition. Not to rush it, not to dramatize it, but to ensure that what arrives does not harm your spirit. That is why patience is being strengthened in you. That is why resilience hath been built quietly. That is why your faith has matured from asking for signs to trusting guidance. As you continue listening, let me speak to you directly now. If this message is resonating with you, if you feel a sense of calm recognition rather than excitement or fear, that is confirmation. This is not entertainment. This is alignment speaking to you. And when something aligns, it asks for participation. So take a moment here. If this message is helping you see your situation differently, support its reach. Like this message so it can find others who are also standing at a quiet threshold. Share it with someone who may be misinterpreting a pause as a loss. Leave a comment, even a simple one, to anchor this understanding into your own spirit. And if you feel guided, subscribe to this space so you do not miss what continues to unfold. There are messages meant to meet you exactly when you need them. Before you move on, let this thought settle in you. What is approaching you is not late. It is precise. It is arriving when you are finally able to receive it without fear, without self-doubt, and without losing your center. That timing is intentional. Hold that awareness gently, because what comes next will reveal how to recognize the approach when it begins to show itself in practical, everyday ways you might otherwise overlook if you are not paying attention. Beloved one, there is a quiet unveiling happening now, and it is not meant for the rushed or the distracted. What Archangel Michael reveals in this moment is subtle, yet powerful, because it explains why you have felt an inner knowing without outer proof. This is the space where faith matures. You are not meant to force recognition of what is approaching. You are meant to recognize yourself changing first. For some time, you have sensed that your reactions are different. Things that once provoked anxiety now bring reflection. Situations that once demanded answers now invite patience. This is not emotional numbness. This is spiritual authority forming. Archangel Michael does not announce new arrivals with chaos. He prepares the soul to remain steady when they come. What is approaching you requires steadiness, not excitement. You are being trained to notice alignment rather than intensity. Many people confuse loud movement with divine motion, but heaven often moves in peace. If something creates panic, urgency, or pressure to compromise your values, it is not the thing being sent toward you. What is approaching will not rush you into decisions. It will respect your pace, your boundaries, and your growth. Right now, you may be standing in what feels like a neutral zone. Not happy, not unhappy. Not fulfilled, not empty. This in-between space is intentional. It is where attachment loosens and clarity sharpens. Archangel Michael often holds people here briefly, so they do not drag old expectations into new blessings. If you were still emotionally tied to the past, you would mislabel the future. Understand this truth. Not everything that feels unfinished is meant to be completed. Some things are meant to teach you discernment, not provide closure. You do not need answers for every past situation in order to move forward. Some clarity arrives only after you no longer need it. That is maturity. What is approaching you will meet you at the level of who you are becoming, not who you were. That is why certain doors could not open earlier. You would have either settled too small or overextended yourself trying to keep something alive that was never meant to be sustained by effort alone. Ease is a sign you are in the right place. Archangel Michael is also reminding you that your intuition has been strengthened for a reason. Pay attention to sudden calm decisions. Pay attention to moments where you feel guided without explanation. Those are not impulses. Those are confirmations. You are being taught to trust your inner signal more than external validation. There may be people around you who do not understand your stillness. They may think you have lost motivation or direction. Let them misunderstand. Not every season is meant to be explained. Some seasons are meant to be honored quietly. When what is approaching arrives, explanation will no longer be necessary. My beloved, there is also healing happening beneath the surface. Old disappointments are losing their emotional charge. Old regrets are becoming lessons instead of wounds. This is not accidental. What is approaching you cannot coexist with unresolved self-blame. Compassion toward yourself is part of the preparation. Archangel Michael wants you to know this clearly. You are not being tested right now. You are being trusted. Trusted to wait without bitterness. Trusted to observe without judgment. Trusted to remain open without desperation. These are signs of spiritual authority. If you have felt drawn to solitude more than usual, honor that. If you have felt guided to simplify routines, honor that. If you have felt an urge to release expectations, honor that. These are not withdrawals, they are alignments. Something cannot enter a cluttered space. As this message settles into your spirit, let one final truth anchor itself within you. What is approaching will not require you to abandon yourself. It will not demand you shrink, perform, or betray your values. It will feel like recognition, like relief, like arriving home without needing directions. Archangel Michael stands watch over this arrival. Nothing meant for you will miss you. Nothing that misses you was meant for you. Rest in that knowing. Type "I receive divine alignment" in the comments if this message is speaking to your spirit. Lesson code 914 has just been released. As this word opens doors for you, it is also meant to reach others who are standing in the same quiet transition. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing light into places where souls are waiting for direction. I hear the Spirit saying that those who pour oil into this message will never lack clarity in their own path. This is seed meeting soil, faith meeting action, obedience meeting harvest. I speak blessing over every giver, that what you release will return multiplied in peace and provision. Do not hesitate when you feel this nudge. Act now, and let your giving become a prophetic response that unlocks light for many. My beloved soul, now the focus shifts inward, because before what is approaching becomes visible in your outer life, it must be acknowledged within you. Archangel Michael draws attention to your inner posture right now, not to test you, but to steady you. You are being invited to recognize how far you have come without demanding proof from the outside world. This is the kind of faith that anchors blessings instead of shaking them. There has been a quiet rewiring happening in your thoughts. You no longer react the way you once did. You pause. You weigh things. You listen before responding. This is not hesitation. This is wisdom forming. Archangel Michael does not rush souls who are learning discernment. Discernment is what keeps you from mistaking motion for meaning. You may notice that your energy feels more selective. You cannot engage in everything the way you used to. Certain dramas exhaust you. Certain conversations feel repetitive. This is not boredom. This is elevation. When something new approaches, your spirit instinctively conserves strength. You are being trained to invest energy where it multiplies, not where it leaks. There is also a subtle invitation to trust silence. Silence hath been misunderstood in your past as absence or rejection. But now, silence is becoming instruction. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that not every answer arrives through words. Some arrive through peace. Some arrive through a sense of "this no longer fits." That is guidance, not confusion. Right now, you are learning to stand without leaning on outcomes. This is powerful. When your sense of stability no longer depends on results, you become unshakable. And what is approaching you needs an unshakable foundation. Blessings cannot rest where fear dominates. They require trust as their landing ground. My beloved, you may have been tempted recently to revisit old paths, old habits, or old thought patterns, simply because they are familiar. That temptation is not a step backward. It is a final test of attachment. Familiarity does not mean suitability. Archangel Michael is helping you recognize the difference. What is meant for you next will feel new, but it will not feel unsafe. Notice how your prayers have changed. You are asking less for rescue and more for clarity, less for outcomes and more for alignment. A shift is critical. It signals readiness. Heaven responds quickly to alignment because it does not need to override your will. You are already facing the right direction. There is also an emotional honesty developing in you. You are no longer pretending to be fine when you are not, but you are also no longer dramatizing discomfort. This balance is strength. Archangel Michael values truth over performance. What is approaching you will meet you where you are real, not where you are impressive. You are being invited to release urgency. Urgency often masquerades as faith, but it is rooted in fear of missing out. What is meant for you cannot be missed. Let that settle deeply. You do not need to chase alignment. You need to remain open to it. Openness is far more powerful than effort. In the season, pay attention to moments of calm certainty. They may arrive suddenly, without explanation. A decision feels right even though it does not make sense yet. A door closes without pain. A possibility excites you quietly rather than dramatically. These are the fingerprints of divine timing. Archangel Michael is also reminding you that your value is not determined by productivity. Rest is not stagnation. Reflection is not delay. Some of the most important preparation happens when nothing appears to be happening. Roots grow in darkness. Foundations form underground. Do not rush what needs depth. You are not being asked to isolate yourself, but you are being asked to protect your peace. Not everyone needs access to your process. Not everyone deserves a vote in your future. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They ensure that what enters your life aligns with who you are becoming. My beloved soul, there is a reason this message continues to unfold gradually. If everything were revealed at once, your mind would interfere with what your spirit already understands. Trust the pacing. Trust the process. Trust that what is approaching will arrive with clarity, not confusion. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder of divine order. Nothing arrives early. Nothing arrives late. Everything arrives when it can be sustained. And you are learning how to sustain what once would have overwhelmed you. As you sit with this awareness, allow yourself to release one final misconception, that stillness means nothing is happening. Stillness is often the moment just before alignment becomes visible. It is the breath before movement. It is the pause that gives meaning to what follows. Remain open. Remain grounded. Remain attentive. What is approaching is closer than it appears, and the calm you feel now is not emptiness. It is readiness. My beloved one, as this message continues, your awareness is being gently expanded, because what is approaching cannot be understood only with the mind. Archangel Michael is guiding you to recognize patterns, not predictions. Patterns reveal readiness. Predictions create pressure. And pressure is not how divine alignment announces itself. You may have noticed that your life has been simplifying in unexpected ways. Obligations have reduced. Certain connections have faded naturally. Your schedule feels lighter, even if your responsibilities have not changed. The simplification is not accidental. When something new approaches, complexity must decrease so clarity can increase. Heaven does not add to clutter. There is also a growing honesty in how you evaluate your own desires. You are no longer chasing what looks impressive to others. You are questioning what actually nourishes you. This shift is profound. It means you are no longer outsourcing your worth to external approval. Archangel Michael honors this kind of integrity because it creates space for blessings that do not require performance. You are learning to distinguish between excitement and alignment. Excitement spikes and crashes. Alignment settles and steadies. What is approaching you will feel grounding, even if it stretches you. It will not destabilize your peace. If something promises quick reward but costs inner stability, it is not the door being opened for you. My beloved, there is also a recalibration happening in your expectations. You once believed that progress must be visible, measurable, and fast. Now you are learning that progress can be internal, subtle, and slow. This recalibration protects you from discouragement. It allows you to recognize growth even when outcomes are still forming. Archangel Michael is also drawing your attention to the way you speak to yourself. Your inner dialogue has softened. You correct yourself without condemnation. You acknowledge mistakes without labeling yourself. This is not weakness. This is authority. When self-compassion replaces self-criticism, your spirit becomes a safe place for growth. You may feel moments of impatience arise, followed quickly by calm. That is the old urgency dissolving. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active trust. It is choosing not to interfere with what is assembling beyond your vision. Every time you choose patience, you reinforce alignment. There is something important you must hear now. What is approaching you does not require you to become someone else. It requires you to be more fully yourself. That is why masks are falling away. That is why certain roles feel uncomfortable now. You are shedding adaptations that were necessary once but are no longer needed. Archangel Michael is also working in your perception of worth. You are beginning to understand that your value is inherent, not earned through struggle. This understanding changes what you allow into your life. You no longer accept chaos as proof of growth. You recognize peace as a sign of maturity. You may notice that you are less reactive to external opinions. Praise does not inflate you. Criticism does not define you. This neutrality is powerful. It means your center of gravity has shifted inward. And when your center is stable, what arrives can stay. There is also a deepening trust in timing forming within you. You are no longer comparing your path to others with the same intensity. Comparison loses its grip when purpose becomes personal. Archangel Michael is reminding you that your timeline is tailored. It does not need to match anyone else's. Right now, your spirit is learning to rest without guilt. Rest without justification. Rest without explanation. This is essential. Fatigue distorts perception. Rest restores clarity. What is approaching you requires clear perception, not constant motion. You are also being taught to recognize when something is complete, even if it was not dramatic. Completion does not always come with closure conversations or final moments. Sometimes it comes with indifference. When something no longer triggers emotion, it has finished its work in you. My beloved, there is no rush in heaven. Urgency belongs to fear. Trust belongs to alignment. Choose trust. Choose openness. Choose to remain attentive without being tense. This balance is where readiness lies. As this message settles, allow yourself to acknowledge the growth that has already occurred. You are not the same person who began this journey. You are steadier. You are clearer. You are more discerning. These qualities are not accidental. They are preparation. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of transitions. He ensures that what approaches does so in order, not chaos. In timing, not haste. With purpose, not confusion. Remain aware. Remain open. Remain grounded. What is approaching is not asking for effort. It is asking for availability. My beloved soul, now the message turns toward awareness in motion, because what is approaching you will begin to interact with your daily life in subtle but undeniable ways. Archangel Michael is not preparing you for a sudden interruption, but for a gentle integration. This next phase is about recognition rather than surprise. You will not need to search for signs. You will notice patterns aligning without force. You may begin to observe that certain decisions feel easier than before. What once required overthinking now feels clear. This is not coincidence. This is discernment becoming instinct. Archangel Michael sharpens clarity when the soul is ready to act without fear. Ease is a sign of readiness, not laziness. There will be moments where opportunities appear ordinary at first glance. Conversations that seem casual. Ideas that arrive quietly. Invitations that do not look dramatic. Do not dismiss these moments. Heaven often wraps purpose in simplicity so it can pass through pride unnoticed. What is approaching you will not demand attention. It will earn recognition through resonance. My beloved, you are also learning how to listen beyond words. Tone, timing, and inner response matter more now than explanations. If something feels forced, it likely is. If something feels calm even in uncertainty, pay attention. Archangel Michael guides through peace more often than through pressure. This is also a season where your boundaries will be tested gently. Not to break them, but to confirm them. You will notice situations where you are tempted to say yes out of habit rather than alignment. Pause there. Alignment does not require immediate response. Silence is allowed. Space is wisdom. There is a growing respect for your own energy developing. You no longer feel the need to prove availability or overextend to be valued. This shift protects what is approaching. Blessings cannot thrive where exhaustion dominates. Your discernment around rest is part of your preparation. Archangel Michael is also reminding you that not everyone will recognize this shift in you. Some may feel uncomfortable with your steadiness because it reflects their own unrest. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Your calm is not arrogance. It is alignment. You may also feel drawn to refine your environment. Small changes. Rearranging. Letting go of clutter. This mirrors an inner process. When inner clarity increases, the outer world follows. These actions may seem insignificant, but they are signals of readiness. My beloved soul, there is an invitation here to participate consciously. Awareness multiplies when it is shared. If this message is resonating with you, allow it to move beyond you. Like this message so it can reach those who are also standing on the edge of quiet change. Share it with someone who may be mistaking stillness for stagnation. Leave a comment to anchor this understanding within yourself. And if you have not already, subscribe to this space, because these messages are unfolding in sequence, and each one meets a specific moment. Archangel Michael often works through collective awareness. When one soul recognizes alignment, it creates permission for others to do the same. Your engagement is not just support, it is participation in the unfolding. As you continue listening, notice how your body responds. Calm, grounded, attentive. These are confirmations. Truth does not agitate the spirit, it steadies it. If you feel steadied, you are aligned. There is also something important to release now, the need for immediate results. What is approaching you is not a quick reward. It is a sustainable shift. It is designed to last, not impress. Sustainability requires patience at the beginning so it does not collapse later. You may find yourself less interested in explaining your journey. This is natural. When alignment deepens, validation becomes unnecessary. You know what you know. Archangel Michael strengthens inner knowing so outer approval loses its power. There will be moments where doubt attempts to resurface, whispering that nothing is happening. When that happens, return to what you feel rather than what you see. Feeling grounded is evidence. Feeling clear is evidence. Feeling less reactive is evidence. My beloved, trust that what is approaching is responding to who you are becoming, not who you were. Growth attracts alignment naturally. You do not need to call it in loudly. It is already moving toward you. Hold on to this awareness as you continue, because the next unfolding will reveal how timing begins to manifest through people, choices, and small shifts that carry larger meaning. This is where many overlook blessings because they expect fireworks. Stay attentive. This is where it gets truly interesting. My beloved one, now the message deepens, because what is approaching will begin to mirror itself through people and moments that feel familiar yet different. Archangel Michael draws your attention to recognition through resonance. This is not about new faces only. It is about new dynamics. The same environment can feel entirely different when alignment enters it. You may start to notice that certain interactions carry more weight than others. Words linger longer. Conversations spark reflection instead of confusion. Someone may say something simple, yet it stays with you for days. This is not coincidence. This is guidance filtering through human connection. Archangel Michael often uses ordinary exchanges to deliver extraordinary confirmation. At the same time, some interactions will feel strangely empty. Conversations that once mattered may feel repetitive or shallow. This is not judgment. It is clarity. You are not being asked to cut people off harshly, but you are being invited to see clearly where your energy is truly met. Alignment reveals itself through mutual presence, not obligation. My beloved, you are also being taught to trust what feels natural. In the past, you may have believed that growth must feel difficult to be real. Struggle became proof of seriousness. But what is approaching you will challenge that belief. It will stretch you without breaking you. It will invite you forward without pushing you. Ease does not mean insignificance. Ease often means accuracy. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that recognition is mutual. You will recognize what is approaching because it will recognize you. There will be no need to audition, convince, or contort yourself. You will feel seen without having to explain yourself fully. The sense of being understood without effort is a powerful signal. You may also notice that your intuition is becoming more specific. It is no longer vague feelings of yes or no. It is precise nudge. Speak now. Wait here. Let this pass. Act on this. This precision comes from trust built over time. You listened before, even when it was uncomfortable. Now guidance can be clearer. There is a shedding happening that you may not have named yet. You are letting go of the version of yourself that needed certainty before moving. You are learning to move with clarity even when outcomes are still forming. This is maturity. Archangel Michael honors movement rooted in trust rather than control. You might feel moments of quiet excitement that you cannot explain. Not the kind that makes you restless, but the kind that feels warm and steady. This is anticipation without anxiety. It is the soul recognizing alignment before the mind catches up. Let yourself feel it without interrogating it. My beloved, there is also an invitation to stay grounded as things begin to align. Excitement can pull you out of presence if you let it. Stay here. Stay attentive. Do not rush ahead mentally. Alignment unfolds best when you meet it moment by moment. You are also learning to honor timing in others. Not everyone will be ready to meet you where you are going. This is not rejection. It is difference in season. Bless them where they are. You do not need to drag anyone forward or hold yourself back. Paths can diverge peacefully. Archangel Michael is also strengthening your ability to pause before reacting. This pause is powerful. It gives space for wisdom to speak. In that space, you avoid choices that would pull you out of alignment. What is approaching requires discernment more than enthusiasm. There may be moments when you question whether you are imagining this shift. When that happens, look at your patterns. Look at your responses. Look at your peace. These are measurable changes. Growth leaves evidence, even when outcomes are still invisible. My beloved, you are being trusted with subtlety. Not everyone is. Some require loud signs because they do not listen inwardly. You have learned to listen. That is why guidance can be quieter now. Silence is not absence. It is refinement. You may also feel a stronger pull toward authenticity. You are less willing to pretend, perform, or agree for the sake of harmony. This is not rebellion. This is alignment. True harmony does not require self-erasure. What is approaching you will honor your truth, not silence it. Archangel Michael wants you to remember this. Discernment does not isolate you. It protects you. Boundaries are not walls against connection. They are doors that open selectively. You are learning which doors to open and which to keep closed without guilt. As this part of the message settles, allow yourself to trust recognition over explanation. You do not need to justify why something feels right or wrong. Feeling grounded is reason enough. Feeling peaceful is confirmation enough. Remain present. Remain observant. Remain gentle with yourself. What is approaching is already interacting with your life in quiet ways. And the fact that you are noticing without forcing means you are exactly where you need to be. My beloved soul, now we arrive at a sacred pause, not because movement has stopped, but because understanding is deepening. Archangel Michael draws near in this moment to help you interpret what is unfolding without rushing it. What is approaching you is no longer distant. It is within range of your awareness, which is why your perception feels sharper and your tolerance for confusion feels lower. This is not impatience. This is readiness. You may have noticed that certain thoughts arrive fully formed now. You are not debating them as much. You are not arguing with your intuition the way you once did. When clarity arrives, it settles instead of spinning. That is a sign that your inner authority has strengthened. Archangel Michael reinforces authority that comes from alignment, not control. There is also a subtle courage rising in you. Not the loud kind that demands recognition, but the quiet kind that allows you to choose differently without explanation. You are more willing to disappoint expectations that no longer reflect who you are. This courage is essential, because what is approaching will require you to stand in truth without apology. My beloved, you are also learning how to receive without suspicion. In the past, these may have made you uneasy. You wondered what the cost would be. But now, your nervous system is calming. You are learning that not everything good comes with hidden strings. Some blessings arrive clean, clear, and steady. Archangel Michael is healing your perception so you can receive without bracing for impact. You may feel moments of gratitude rising unexpectedly. not tied to outcomes but to awareness. Gratitude for clarity. Gratitude for growth. Gratitude for the ability to pause instead of react. This gratitude is magnetic. It signals readiness to receive more without attachment. There is also a lesson here about patience that must be understood correctly. Patience is not waiting without action. It is acting without forcing. It is staying engaged with life while trusting timing. You are learning this balance now. You are present without being tense, available without being desperate. This is alignment in motion. Archangel Michael is also drawing your attention to integrity. Small choices matter more now. What you agree to, what you decline, how you speak when no one is watching. Integrity is the container that holds what is approaching. Without it, even good things leak away. With it, even small beginnings grow strong. You may notice that your standards are changing. Not because you are demanding more from others, but because you are honoring yourself more fully. You are less willing to accept inconsistency, mixed signals, or energy that drains you. This is not judgment. This is clarity, and clarity is protection. My beloved soul, there is something important to release now. The idea that arrival must look dramatic. What is approaching may enter your life quietly, but its impact will be lasting. Do not underestimate subtle beginnings. Seeds do not announce themselves. They reveal their power over time. You are also being reminded that faith does not require certainty. It requires trust and direction. You do not need to know every step. You only need to recognize when something aligns with peace. Peace is your compass now. Archangel Michael uses peace to guide those who have learned to listen. As this message integrates, notice how your body feels. Grounded, present, alert without tension. These are confirmations that you are aligned with what is unfolding. Truth settles the body. Confusion agitates it. You're settling because truth is landing. My beloved, do not rush to label what is approaching. Allow it to reveal itself. Names come later. Meaning unfolds with experience. Stay curious rather than analytical. Curiosity keeps the heart open. Analysis often closes it too soon. Archangel Michael stands as witness to your growth. You have not bypassed lessons. You have integrated them. That is why what is approaching will meet you at eye level, not from a place of imbalance. As we seal this moment, receive this activation with intention. Type "I step into divine timing" in the comments if this message aligns with your spirit. Blessing code 1432 is now released over your path. If this word has brought light to your discernment, it is meant to flow beyond you like a river that does not stop at one shore. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description, you are sowing seed into soil where clarity is awakening for many souls. I speak this as a living word. Those who respond in this moment will see open heavens over their obedience, and what they release will return as provision, peace, and multiplied wisdom. This is not a donation. It is alignment in action, a prophetic response to what God is doing now. Blessing is spoken over every giver, that your generosity will never outrun your supply. Act now, and let your support become part of the divine flow that carries this message where it must go. My beloved one, now the message moves into a space of embodiment, because what is approaching is no longer only being perceived, it is beginning to shape how you move through your days. Archangel Michael is guiding you to live as if alignment is already active, not as something you are waiting for. This shift from anticipation to embodiment is subtle, but it changes everything. You may notice that your decisions feel more anchored. You are less swayed by emotional spikes or external noise. When something is not aligned, your body senses it before your mind explains it. This embodied awareness is a sign of maturity. You are no longer outsourcing discernment. You are carrying it within you. There is also a sense of quiet responsibility forming. Not the heavy kind that creates pressure, but the steady kind that creates presence. You are aware that your choices matter more now. Not because you are being watched, but because you are becoming more honest with yourself. Archangel Michael strengthens accountability that comes from self-respect, not fear. My beloved, you are also learning to honor pacing. You move when there is clarity. You pause when there is uncertainty. You no longer confuse hesitation with failure. This rhythm protects what is approaching. Blessings move best when they are not rushed. You may begin to experience moments where the old urge to control outcomes resurfaces briefly. When it does, notice it without judgment. Control dissolves when trust is strengthened. Every time you choose trust over control, you reinforce alignment. Archangel Michael is also drawing your attention to how you speak about your future. Words carry direction. You are becoming more intentional, less reactive. You no longer speak from fear or lack as often. This shift matters. I would have to dedication, and have to perceive him. There may be a growing sense of readiness paired with humility. You know you are capable, but you are not arrogant. You feel prepared, but you are still open to learning. This balance is powerful. It ensures that what arrives can grow with you rather than overwhelm you. My beloved soul, there is also an invitation to remain grounded in the present. Do not live ahead of your life. Do not skip the moments that are forming you now. What is approaching will integrate with who you are today, not who you imagine you will be later. Presence is the bridge. You might find yourself naturally letting go of comparisons. Other people's timelines feel less relevant. You are less interested in measuring progress externally. This is not indifference. It is focus. When purpose becomes personal, distraction loses its grip. Archangel Michael is also reminding you that alignment does not eliminate challenges. It changes how you meet them. Challenges will no longer feel like threats to your worth. They will feel like information. Guidance often comes through contrast. There is also a growing respect for simplicity. You are not chasing complexity to feel important. You are choosing what works, what aligns, what sustains. Simplicity is often misunderstood as lack of ambition, but it is actually clarity in action. My beloved, you may notice that your emotional reactions are shorter-lived. You feel things fully, but you do not dwell as long. This is regulation. This is strength. This is the nervous system learning safety. What is approaching requires emotional stability, not suppression. Archangel Michael wants you to trust this integration. You are not missing anything. You are not behind. You are inhabiting the version of yourself that can receive without losing balance. That is rare. That is intentional. As this message continues to unfold, allow yourself to remain curious rather than critical. Curiosity keeps you flexible. Criticism hardens perception. You are being guided to stay open, not guarded. There is one more truth to anchor here. What is approaching you will not take you away from yourself. It will bring you deeper into yourself. It will feel like alignment, not escape. Expansion, not avoidance. Remain attentive to the small confirmations. They are increasing because you are noticing them now. Awareness multiplies evidence. Archangel Michael stands as witness to this embodiment. You are no longer only listening to guidance. You are living it. Hold this awareness gently, because the next unfolding will ask you to participate more actively, not through effort, but through trust in timing and choice. This is where alignment begins to express itself outwardly in tangible ways. Stay present. You are doing this well. My beloved soul, now we move into a moment of conscious choice, because what is approaching you is beginning to require response, not reaction. Archangel Michael is very present here, not as a warrior, but as a guide of timing. This phase is not about forcing doors open. It is about recognizing which doors are already unlocked and having the courage to turn the handle calmly. You may start to feel a gentle pull towards certain actions. Nothing dramatic, nothing overwhelming, just small, consistent nudges. Reach out, apply, say yes here, say no there. These nudges are not random thoughts. They are alignment cues. Archangel Michael often guides through subtle impulses that feel steady rather than urgent. Urgency creates anxiety. Guidance creates clarity. There is also a shift happening in how you interpret resistance. Earlier in your life, resistance felt like failure. Now you are beginning to see it as information. When something resists you repeatedly, it is not always a test of perseverance. Sometimes it is a redirection. Discernment helps you tell the difference, and that discernment is active in you now. My beloved, notice how you are less willing to argue with what your spirit already knows. You may still feel emotion, but you no longer override intuition to satisfy fear or expectation. This is growth expressing itself in real time. Alignment is not passive. It informs action, but without panic. You are also learning to trust delayed gratification. Not everything meaningful happens instantly. What is approaching you is layered. It unfolds step by step so you can integrate each level without overwhelm. Archangel Michael ensures that you are not given more than you can carry, but also that you are not kept small out of fear. There may be moments where you are tempted to explain yourself unnecessarily, to justify your pace, to clarify your choices to people who do not understand your season. Pause there. Explanation is not always required. Sometimes clarity is private, but is aligned and not need constant defense. My beloved soul, this is also a season where your voice matters. Not in value, but in honesty. Speak when it feels true. Stay silent when it feels forced. You are learning the power of measured response. That power protects what is approaching from premature exposure. Archangel Michael is also helping you release perfectionism. You do not need to get everything right to move forward. Progress is not fragile. Alignment does not collapse because of small missteps. Grace is part of the process. Trust grows through experience, not flawless execution. You may notice that your focus is narrowing. Distractions lose appeal. You are less interested in things that once consumed your attention. This is not loss. This is refinement. Focus sharpens as purpose clarifies, and clarity makes room for what is approaching to integrate smoothly. And now hear this carefully. Participation matters. Alignment responds to engagement. If this message is speaking to you, allow it to move through you, not just sit with you. Like this message so it can reach others who are standing at the same threshold. Share it with someone who needs reassurance that stillness is not stagnation. Leave a comment to anchor this truth within yourself. And if you have not yet, subscribe to this channel so you remain connected as these messages continue to unfold in divine sequence. Before you move forward, pause with this awareness. You are not waiting for permission anymore. You are recognizing alignment and responding with trust. That is maturity. That is readiness. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that what is approaching you is responsive. It responds to your clarity. It responds to your integrity. It responds to your willingness to act without forcing. This is co-creation, not endurance. There may be a final layer of doubt that surfaces, questioning whether you are truly ready. That doubt is not a warning. It is the mind catching up to the spirit. You do not need to silence it aggressively. Simply do not obey it. Trust what feels grounded. My beloved, timing is not something you manage. It is something you meet. And you are meeting it now, one clear choice at a time. Hold your attention here. The next unfolding will reveal how this alignment begins to settle into something recognizable, something that feels stable, sustainable, and undeniably yours. Stay with this. You will want to experience what comes next. My beloved one, now the message enters a space of confirmation, because what is approaching you is beginning to settle rather than circle. Archangel Michael draws your attention to stability, not excitement. This is important, because many people mistake adrenaline for alignment. What is unfolding now does not need to impress you. It needs to remain with you. You may notice that certain choices you have already made are starting to feel right in your body, not just logical in your mind. There is less second-guessing, less replaying of conversations, less imagining alternative outcomes. This settling is a sign that you are no longer fighting the current. You are moving with it. Archangel Michael confirms alignment through peace that endures beyond the moment. There is also a shift in how you experience uncertainty. It no longer feels threatening. It feels neutral, sometimes even spacious. This is a major change. When uncertainty loses its power to unsettle you, it means your trust has moved from circumstances to guidance. You are no longer depending on outcomes to feel safe. My beloved, what is approaching you now is not testing your faith. It is responding to it. Faith has already been demonstrated through patience, restraint, and self-honesty. You stayed present when it would have been easier to distract yourself. You listened when silence felt uncomfortable. You waited without collapsing into fear. That matter. You may also notice that your emotional landscape feels quieter, not empty but clear. Old emotional loops are no longer repeating. Old triggers have lost intensity. This does not mean they never existed. It means they no longer control you. Healing does not erase memory. It removes charge. Archangel Michael stands guard over this integration so that what arrives does not awaken what has already been resolved. There is a deeper sense of ownership forming in you. Ownership of your pace. Ownership of your choices. Ownership of your boundaries. You are no longer apologizing for being intentional. This is not rigidity. This is self-respect. And self-respect is essential for sustaining what is approaching. My beloved soul, you are also learning to recognize completion without ceremony. Some chapters close quietly. No announcement. No dramatic ending. Just a gentle sense of this is done. Honor that. Do not reopen doors out of habit. Closure does not always come with conversation. Sometimes it comes with clarity. Archangel Michael is also reminding you that alignment does not remove effort. It removes resistance. You will still show up. You will still apply focus. But it will no longer feel like you are pushing against yourself. Effort without resistance builds strength. Effort with resistance creates exhaustion. You are moving into the first, not the second. You may feel a growing sense of confidence that is not loud. It does not need affirmation. It does not seek comparison. It simply exists. This confidence is rooted in self-trust. You have seen yourself navigate uncertainty with integrity. That memory becomes evidence. Evidence builds confidence. There is also a refinement in how you relate to time. You are less anxious about the future and less attached to the past. You are more present. Presence is where alignment expresses itself most clearly. Archangel Michael often brings confirmation through the present moment, not through projections. My beloved, do not underestimate how significant this shift is. Many people spend their lives chasing reassurance. You are learning to recognize it internally. A change is what you attract. You no longer draw chaos that demands attention. You draw stability that offers partnership. As this message deepens, allow yourself to acknowledge the work you have done internally. Not to glorify struggle, but to honor growth. You did not bypass discomfort. You moved through it with awareness. That is why what is approaching will meet you without conflict. There may be moments where you wonder if you should feel more excitement. Release that expectation. Excitement comes and goes. Alignment remains. What is meant to last often arrives quietly because it does not need to convince you. It simply fits. Archangel Michael wants you to remain steady now. Not passive. Steady. Continue listening. Continue choosing with intention. Continue honoring what feels grounded. This steadiness is what allows alignment to become tangible. You are closer now than you realize. Not to an event, but to embodiment. To living from alignment rather than seeking it. It is the true arrival. Remain present with this awareness, because what follows will seal this message, not as an ending, but as a recognition of what has already begun to take form in your life. My beloved child, this is not an ending. This is a sealing. What Archangel Michael has been guiding you through has not been about anticipation alone, but about recognition. Recognition of who you have become. Recognition of how you now move. Recognition of the quiet authority you carry without needing permission. What is approaching has already begun to settle into your life, not as a disruption, but as a confirmation. You may notice that there is less inner resistance now, less questioning of your own instincts, less need to revisit decisions once they are made. This is not because everything is perfect, but because you trust yourself more deeply. That trust is the foundation that allows alignment to stay. Without it, even blessings feel unstable. With it, even challenges feel manageable. Archangel Michael stands with you here, not to announce something dramatic, but to affirm something subtle. You are no longer waiting for your life to begin. You are living from alignment rather than reaching for it. That shift changes everything. It means that what enters your life now will meet you where you are grounded, not where you are striving. There is also a release happening at this stage, a release of the need to label everything. You do not need to name what is approaching yet. You do not need to define it fully. Some things reveal themselves through experience, not explanation. Allow life to show you rather than demanding clarity upfront. Trust has replaced urgency for a reason. My beloved, you may feel a quiet sense of gratitude that has no single source. That gratitude is your spirit recognizing safety. Safety in your own discernment. Safety in your ability to pause. Safety in knowing that you will not abandon yourself to please outcomes. The safety is rare, and it is what allows blessings to integrate without fear. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that nothing meaningful has been wasted. The waiting was not wasted. The stillness was not wasted. The confusion was not wasted. Everything served a purpose in refining your perception. You are now able to see clearly without being harsh, and to choose wisely without being rigid. You are also stepping into a season where your presence itself becomes stabilizing. People may feel calmer around you. Conversations may deepen unexpectedly. Your steadiness will speak louder than your words. This is not something you need to manage. It is a natural expression of alignment lived consistently. My beloved child, do not rush to share everything that is unfolding. Some things need to be protected while they take root. Silence can be sacred. Privacy can be wise. What is meant to grow strong must first grow quietly. There is one final truth to anchor now. What has approached you will continue to unfold in layers. Not all at once. Not in a way that overwhelms. In a way that can be sustained. This is how divine timing works. It does not impress. It establishes. Archangel Michael seals this message with assurance. You are not missing anything. You are not late. You are not overlooked. You are exactly where alignment can meet you without resistance. Receive this activation now with intention. Type "I walk in divine alignment" in the comments if this message has confirmed something within you. Blessing code 2209 is now released over your life. If this message has strengthened your discernment and anchored your spirit, it is meant to move beyond you and reach those who are still searching for clarity. I speak this plainly and with authority. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal donation link placed in the description, you are sowing seed into the spreading of God's word, lighting paths for souls who are waiting for direction. The Spirit says that those who respond now are not giving money, they are releasing obedience, and obedience opens rivers where drought once existed. I declare blessing over every giver, that your generosity will return as provision, protection, and multiplied peace. Do not delay this response. Act now, and let your support become a prophetic agreement with what God is releasing in this season.